Hey, most technician turned business owners don't lose because they're bad at the work. They lose because they look just like everyone else. The same trucks, the same website language, the same quality service at a competitive price, or family owned and operated, or in business since 1892. When everybody looks the same, the only thing left is to compete on price. And that's not a marketing issue. That's a uniqueness problem. Today we're talking about one of the 3 pillars of sustainable profitability, your unique offer, and how you and your individuality isn't a weakness to hide. It's the very thing that can separate you from the pack. If this resonates and you want to build a business that stands out instead of blending in, I want to encourage you to grab the playbook. It walks through all 3 pillars step by step, and there's a link in the show notes. But right for now, let's talk about why blending in is dangerous. Here's the reality, and nothing meaningful changes. You're replaceable. Or to put it another way, if you went out of business today, other than the customers that have you on speed dial, would anybody say, wow, we lost an icon today in this area? Or would it be, I'm just going to move on to the company down the street? If that's the case, you're replaceable. And replaceable businesses get shopped. It's just the reality. And shopped businesses then get squeezed. And squeezed businesses lose margin. As a technician turned owner, you didn't set out to just blend in, but it happens. You started your company because you're good at what you do. Maybe you're a good HVAC technician. Maybe you're a great plumber, a great electrician, landscaper, hardscaper, painter, roofer, cider, windows, whatever it is. The problem is the skill alone does not create the differentiation. Competence is the bare minimum. Uniqueness is the multiplier. And most of us were trained our entire lives to not be unique. Just blend in. Don't stand out too much. Don't be different. What's the matter with you? Everybody else is doing it. Why aren't you? Of course, that always reminds me of the story, if everybody else was jumping off a cliff, would you? And that's fine in middle school. But in business, it's deadly. Let's talk for a minute about Steve Jobs. Most people think Apple's technology was fantastic, and it is. And they think that Apple succeeded only because of technology. But you know what? That's not the full story. Jobs had an unusual obsession with both simplicity and he hated buttons. He hated clutter. He hated complexity. The aversion to the buttons just bugged him. He believed they confused users. When Apple developed early products, Jobs consistently pushed for fewer buttons, fewer inputs, fewer distractions. And the story I heard was they came to him with the new phone, the new iPhone. And at the time, BlackBerry was all the rage. Had a full keyboard on the front, had buttons on the side of it. And the deal was, for most companies, when they were designing new phones, is they would just add more buttons. I mean, we had slider phones with buttons on the face and then a whole keyboard inside after you slid half the phone up. So the designers brought Steve Jobs, as the story goes, the new phone with lots and lots of buttons on it. The story is he threw it across the room and said, "Try again, I want no buttons." So the next time they came back, they got rid of all but a few buttons, a couple on the side and the one on the face. And it was indented, so it wasn't looking like a button. And so when Apple released that device with that one button, it looked absurd. It looked maybe even foolish, risky. But Jobs wasn't trying to copy the market. He was leaning into who he was. His personal distaste for complexity became Apple's design philosophy. Minimalism wasn't a tactic. It was an extension of his personality. And that uniqueness made Apple unmistakable. You could spot it from across the room. That's what a unique offer does. It doesn't scream any louder. It just becomes recognizable. So let's bring this down to where we are. I mean, that's a technology company. They're huge. We're nobodies, right? Well, you're not nobody. You're somebody. But let's bring it down to our world. You're a technician turned business owner. Maybe you're still in the field turning wrenches and you like to do that. There's no problem with that. What do you naturally hate about your industry? Is it the slow response times? Is it a messy job site? How about a lack of communication? How about some extremely confusing pricing? Sales pressure. Unreliable technicians. Trying to sell something people don't need. That irritation is a clue. Jobs hated clutter, so he built simplicity. What is it you hate enough to fix? Because your frustration might just be your differentiation. Most owners suppress that instinct. They think, oh, that's just how the industry works. No. That's how average companies work. The unique pillar is about designing your business around what you believe why you should exist. Let's talk about Robert Stevens. Robert Stevens was the founder of the Geek Squad. Steven has shared that growing up, he dressed differently. He didn't blend into the typical tech stereotype. When he started Geek Squad in the 90s, computer repair companies were, well, they were informal, cluttered, often socially awkward. Stevens did the opposite. He created white shirts, black ties, pocket protectors, badge numbers, branded Beetle cars. It looked like a quirky version of the FBI for computers. Was it necessary for fixing computers? No. Was it unforgettable? Absolutely. He leaned into the personality. He turned what may have made him different into brand identity, and customers loved it. They remembered it, and that's the power of uniqueness. Here's why most technician owners struggle. You and I were trained to do the work right. Keep your head down, be dependable, don't draw attention. We build our identity around being a solid and competent technician. But business requires something more. It requires being clear about what makes us different. And that feels uncomfortable. Standing out feels risky. The reality is, it's riskier not to. And if you're listening to this thinking, I know we look like everyone else, it's not an insult. You're becoming more aware, and awareness is step one. And the playbook walks you through defining your unique offer clearly. Not marketing fluff, not what people want to hear, but operational reality. And if you haven't had a chance to download it, now's the time. It'll give you structure to what we're talking about today. So let's be clear. Uniqueness is not about being strange. It's not about gimmicks. It's not about a flashy marketing plan. It's about being clear. When a customer sees your company, can they quickly understand and answer what makes them different? If the answer is vague, sorry, but you just blend in with everybody else. If the answer is clear, you win. Your unique offer directly affects profitability. When you stand out, you're going to attract better fit clients. You reduce price sensitivity. You increase referrals. You create loyalty. And you simplify your marketing. But when you blend in, you're going to compete on price. And in order to get more people in, you're going to have to spend more on ads. You're going to attract high maintenance customers. And you're going to feel replaceable. Uniqueness is not branding fluff. It's a marketing strategy. It's a margin strategy. It's a profit strategy. But now let's talk about you for a minute. Most technician owners used to hide what made them different. Maybe you talk differently. Maybe you care more about detail. Maybe you hate chaos. Maybe you love the precision of a perfectly working machine. Maybe you value relationships deeply. You think in terms of systems. Or maybe you're just quieter than the competitors. And instead of leaning into that, you've tried to copy what, quote, successful companies look like. But copying them removes your edge and actually gives them an edge. Jobs didn't copy Nokia. Stevens didn't copy other repair shops. They amplified what made them different. I want you to do the same. I want you to lean into what makes you different. Ask yourself, what do customers consistently compliment us on? What do we do that competitors don't? What do we refuse to compromise on? That's your uniqueness hiding in plain sight. And the goal isn't invention, it's amplification. Back in the 90s, floor savers, or in some houses, shoe savers, were an odd thing. But then some of the bigger companies started picking up on that. And the only reason why that happened is because one guy's wife said, "Hey, you keep coming in and out while you're working on our system and you're dragging mud through the floor. Can't you put something on your feet to stop that?" Ow. That was just because he was bringing mud into his own house. So he started wearing them for his customers. His customers started asking, "Hey, can we have a pair of them for the next technician that comes in?" His company started using them all the time. Soon, other companies started following. There were some utility companies in this area that were starting to use them when they were coming in and out of people's houses. That's being different. Average companies slowly fade out. Not because they collapse dramatically, but because they become invisible. And when markets tighten, when competition increases, when advertising costs rise, invisible companies suffer first. Distinct companies endure. Your uniqueness is not a liability, it's your leverage. And as a technician turned business owner, you built your skill first. Now you must build your distinction. And that doesn't mean changing who you are. It means clarifying who you already are. Your business should reflect your values, your frustrations, but your standards. If you care deeply about cleanliness, build the cleanest operation in your market. If you value communication, build the most proactive communication process in your market. And if you hate high pressure sales, build the most transparent pricing system where you are. That becomes your unique offer. Now, as I said, if you're ready to stop blending in, if you're ready to build a company that stands out because it's aligned with who you are, you can start with the playbook. It's going to walk you through the top clients, unique offer, systemizing, all three pillars that work together. But remember, your uniqueness is not something to hide. It's something to build around. Because in business, blending in is a slow decline. Use your uniqueness. That's sustainable growth. You know what? Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode of the Business Growth Made Simple.